Hey guys, I'm officially done with fourth year. It was incredibly draining. This last semester took it out of me. I finished about 10 days ago with all my exams and I've just been trying to recharge since then, doing a lot of sleeping, which has been nice. But I start summer practice tomorrow, bright and early at 7:30 a.m., which is unfortunate, but it's something I've got to do. I'm going to be in the vascular surgery department and I'm going to try and vlog a little bit. This is very out of my depth. This is a new style of video, I guess. It's not something I usually do, but I've got some errands to run today. So I thought, let me maybe take you along through the city and see if I can film some stuff. I'm not sure how bad the wind's going to be and also how bad my vlogging skills are going to be, but we'll find out soon. And I want to just give you a little bit of an indication of how this last semester was and also talk about what's going to be happening in my upcoming week/month, because as I say, I'm going to be here for 4 weeks doing my surgery rotation/summer practice, and I don't think I'll be able to film much in the hospital because of course there's patients and doctors and it's not exactly an environment where you can film often, but maybe I can film some things here and there or slip away to a room and give a bit of an indication of what I just experienced, something along those lines. But we'll see how this goes. Hopefully you do enjoy this style of video. If you do, let me know in the comments and then maybe I'll do this kind of style of video more often. So yeah, let's go for it. All right, please excuse the vest and the potentially shiny face. I had to put sunscreen on and I also had to wear the vest because it's just so flippin' hot. I honestly feel like I've forgotten my South African heritage while I was in Europe, because coming out of a European winter to this, oh my goodness. And I'm also out of my depth, as I say, with this vlogging thing. Kudos to people who vlog all the time, because it is actually mad awkward. Like, you just feel like everyone's looking at you, but you know what? We'll just go with the flow. We'll pretend they're not looking. And let's start off with this last semester that just went by. And I had 13 subjects in total, including optionals and electives. So I think it was about maybe 10 or 11 obligatory subjects. There's just a car here. I don't want to kill myself. Okay. I had like 10 or 11 obligatory subjects and then the rest were optionals and electives. The optionals and electives didn't really have exams, so that was nice. It was just a distraction during the semester. But I had 10 or 11 exams, which were all in the span of about 8 weeks. It was like the last 2 weeks of the instruction period and then also 6 weeks of the exam period. I had to use 6 of the 7 weeks, which is a little bit rare for me. Usually I finish around middle of 4th week or middle of 5th week. So it was a little bit of a tough semester for me. And within those subjects, we also had pharmacology final, which is massive, honestly ridiculous. One of the worst subjects I've had to study, because we don't do pharmacology in a block system where we just learn the pharmacology in cardiology, for example, and then in neurology and so on and so forth. We just learn pharmacology in its entirety. So we had to learn every single drug known to man. And that's not something fun to learn because there's not much context. It's just learning tons of different names. So that was very tough, together with having to do all of our other clinical subjects. Sorry, I just ran into someone I know just to test the confidence even more. That's why there's a little bit of a gap and now I'm in a different location. But anyways, let's continue. So what was I saying? I was saying something about pharmacology. It's a really, really massive subject. It's a cumulative subject. So it involves what we did in first semester for pharmacology and this semester. And we don't have a block system, as I say. So I spend most of the semester studying pharmacology and not so much the other clinical subjects. I try to revise them a little bit during the semester and pay attention in classes. But for the most part, I was learning the subjects within the exam period. And that meant that even though I passed pharmacology in my first week of the exam period, which was good, first attempt, I still had another 6 exams in that exam period to get done. I completed 3 before the exam period started. They were like at the end of the instruction period. But I had another 6 to get done, which were consisting of subjects like urology, orthopedics, traumatology, rheumatology, and so on, just to name a few. And these 6 exams actually ended up being a lot tougher than I thought they would be, because traditionally the upper year students tell you that the subjects get smaller and smaller and you maybe need less days to study for them. So that's positive, because once you get past pharmacology, it's the last like massive theoretical subject. But that being said, it still takes a lot of energy out of you and you're drained, and that kind of accumulates throughout the exam period. So being drained really makes it difficult to study, even though there are smaller subjects. I would say out of the rest of the exams I had after pharmacology, they all went relatively well, except maybe my public health final and urology. Those are probably the two where I stumbled quite a lot in the exam, which was unfortunate. We have oral exams for most of our exams, as I've mentioned in a lot of videos. And both of these were oral exams where you can get a bit unlucky with the topics that you pick. And with my public health final, I picked 3 topics, one of which was very weak for me. So I started with that, hoping that I could get through it somehow and then finish a bit stronger with the other 2. And it didn't start well at all. The teacher wasn't happy, and understandably so, because I wasn't performing well at all. And luckily she was nice enough to let me continue to see how I would do in the other 2 topics. And as I predicted, I was able to kind of bring it back a bit, to the point where she said she can tell I've studied and I've got the knowledge to pass. I didn't get a good grade, but it's fine, it is what it is. And I had a very similar experience with urology, just the other way around, where I had 3 topics. My first 2 were actually very strong, and I thought that my 3rd topic wasn't that bad, but I unfortunately made like 2 or 3 big mistakes, and those ended up dragging me down quite a lot, to the point where he was even thinking about failing me, because to be fair, there were mistakes you wouldn't want to be saying in an exam. I still thought it was a tiny bit harsh just because my first 2 topics were so strong. But on reflection now, I get why he was upset with me. And it's something that I've had to just move on with, because he did give me a grade 2 for it, which is obviously like the lowest passing grade, because we have a scale of 1 to 5, where 1 is fail, 2 is pass, 3 satisfactory. That word is not easy to say. 4 is good, and 5 is excellent. So not ideal in that sense. But the rest of my exams, other than those 2, were all pretty solid, and I'm happy with the performance overall. So now we move on to 5th year, luckily, and there's no more theoretical subjects. I start 2nd of September, and it's all going to just be clinical subjects now. So subjects like neurology, gynecology and obstetrics, psychiatry, and so on. I need to probably look at the curriculum more to get a better understanding, but it should be a better year. Everyone in the upper years said that 5th year is pretty chill, because now you can focus on maybe 4 subjects during the semester and not have a massive theoretical subject to distract you. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm also looking forward to still having a proper break. I need a month to just completely switch off, and I'm going to look forward to that in August after the summer practice is done. But while I'm here, let me shoot some content. Let me try and make it worthwhile and create some stuff that will maybe be of interest to those who are starting medical school here or somewhere else in the world, as it is going to be relevant to get an indication of what clinical experience is like in the hospital as a medical student. So I'm looking forward to filming a few things each day as I go through this whole vascular surgery placement. I don't know exactly what to expect. I'll revisit this tomorrow after I've had my first day to see what the expectations are of me and how much I'm actually going to be doing. I assume I'm just going to be observing, as of course it's a surgery environment and I'm not at all qualified, but there may be some outpatient stuff as well where I'll do some potential medical interviews, physical examination, stuff like that. So we'll have to see. I'll speak to the doctor. I'm also planning on doing my thesis in the vascular surgery department, so it's actually handy that I've got my placement there, because I might start working on that as well in the background. I'm planning on doing it on aortic dissection right now. There's no clarification yet, but that's what we're thinking. So I'll have to also talk to the doctor about that. A lot going on basically, so it's not exactly a holiday yet, unfortunately, but at least we're enjoying the sun, as hot as it is. It's nice to get a bit of fresh air and not have to study. That's a huge plus. So that is basically the update I wanted to give. I was thinking of doing a long video where it's almost a week in my life kind of vlog, but I don't want it to be too long. I think it can get boring. It might be better to post this as a little update and then do a few small videos. But again, you can let me know in the comments if you want it to be longer and you prefer it to be one whole video, then I can adjust in the future. Before I do go though, I might switch the camera and film a tiny bit of the city and waffle a little bit if you want to stick around, just to see what Pitch has to offer. So let me switch that quickly. So this here is a nice garden with a fountain coming up to a cathedral, which is one of the most beautiful areas in Pech. And it looks like there was an event of some sort here. These are usually the sheds they put up for a Christmas market type event, but I'm not sure exactly what happened here, obviously, since it's not Christmas, but it must have been some kind of small festival of sorts. Or they may be setting up for something, I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like there's a lot of stores that were selling food and drinks and accessories and stuff. This is the cathedral up here. And there we go. Now the whole thing's basically in shot. And I'll walk a little bit to the city center as well and show the main square just before I call it quits on the video. And in future I can even take a few hikes up to the top of the hill that we have that overlooks the city and show some views up there if people enjoy this last segment of the video. I'm going to be guided basically by the comments. If you think the whole thing's garbage, you can just say. Because as I say, this is not something I'm used to. If you want me to go back to filming in my room, let me know. That's definitely easier for me. But if you like this, then I'll be more than happy to continue. It's just going to take an adjustment period, but I'll figure it out. This area here is meant to be similar to what you'd expect in Paris on that Love Bridge, where it's basically all the locks and engravings for couples. They had to put this in because there's a segment coming up which was the original area for this, and it's getting too packed, so they had to make a new section. These have also recently been added to the city, which are quite helpful. You just download an app and you scan a QR code and you can drive them between stations, which is nice. It's got a little bit more expensive though, but it's something that's nice to have if you're in a rush and you don't want to wait for a bus, or you don't want to get a taxi, which is slightly more expensive. And then as you can see coming up ahead, all the locks. This as far as I'm aware, the original area. And then the building up here, I'm pretty sure is where midwives and nurses train, but I'm not entirely sure. Something along those lines. The medical faculty is on the other side of the city, so difficult for me to say for sure, but I feel like someone said that to me. And now we're coming into the city center. This is, I think, a mosque that's been converted into a Catholic church, as far as I'm aware. Again, I'm not too good with the facts. I've spent so much time focusing on medicine and not so much time focusing on the city, even though it does have a charm to it. It's very much a student city though, so since it's summer break now, most international students have left, and that means that the city's quite quiet. It's just me and a few other sad medical students, but it will still have a bit more of a vibe in the evenings. It's very hot now and it's midday, so there's not going to be that many people out. But I would say this square here is the most beautiful area of the city. This and the cathedral. Yeah, there we go. I think I might call it for today. I've shown a bit of the city and I've waffled quite a bit about my situation. Hopefully I was able to keep your attention throughout. And I will see you guys on the next one. I need to also give the customary cheers.